Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are, whatever time you're listening to this. I'm going to be reading chapter 11, Who is a Young Lord? I got to work the next day and saw the headline in the New York Times. East Harlem youths explain garbage dumping demonstration. Dolores was jumping up and down with excitement. We were in the back of the Five and Dime, punching in. Were you there, Evelyn? What was it like? My mother was right. She said revolution would eventually come to El Barrio. Mr. Simpson looked agitated. Get to your counters. Store opens in 2 minutes. We're just talking about the young lords, said Dolores. Well, I'm just glad the sanitation department was able to clean up the mess they made, or I never would have been able to get my car down here, he said, going back into his office. He had his newspaper turned to that headline tucked under his arm. I could barely believe it. People had noticed East Harlem. We were in the newspaper. After work, I walked down to 96th and Madison to get more copies of the New York Times. Something in me wanted to collect the paper. I wanted lots of them. The article kept referring to the young lords. When I got home, Abuela was sitting on the living room floor reaching for her toes. Abuela, I asked, are you a young lord? She straightened up long enough to laugh. How could I be a young anything? You know what I mean. I just want to do mi parte. I showed her the newspaper article. Look. She stood up with a grunt, then sat down on the sofa. Léemelo. Abuela had seen the article that morning, but wanted me to read it to her, so I did. In claiming credit for spearheading the protest, a group of young lords said yesterday that they had acted to show the people of El Barrio, East Harlem's Puerto Rican slum, that such activity was necessary to get city action to meet community needs. Abuela clapped as I read. Bien dicho, bien dicho, she whooped. I continued. The lords, he said, worked closely with the Panthers and were aiming to unite Spanish-speaking Americans to end the oppression against them. Abuela almost cried when she heard this part. Que viva Puerto Rico libre, she whispered. Keep reading. Keep reading. I did. For the last 5 weeks, the lords have been helping clean the streets to show the people that the system does not serve them. I finished reading. She sat with a satisfied smile on her face, then suddenly grabbed my arm. Then, we went into my room. And now I have something to show you. She pulled out her photo album and we sat and balanced it on our laps. Abuela showed me the picture of a policeman squatting over a dead body. That was a nationalist on the ground. I can tell because he is wearing white pants and a dark shirt, said Abuela somberly. Is that the man holding a rifle, a policeman? Is that man holding a rifle, a policeman? Kind of, a guardia civil. She turned the page and I saw the other picture of a policeman shooting through what looked like a tall garden fence. Then Abuela turned to the big picture of the guardia civil marching and shooting into the crowd of people who were running scared. I was there, whispered Abuela. There during the shooting? But what is that place, Abuela? Who are those people and why are they being shot at? She took a deep breath. That place is Ponce, Puerto Rico. Abuela spoke so slowly and quietly her words were like soft drops of sad rain. And in 1937, those policías sinvergüenzas mataron a... She pounded a fist on her knee. Calm down, Abuela. How can I calm down? Those police shot at innocent people just because they were marching to support the Nationalist Party. What is that? Nationalists are people who want Puerto Rico to be independent from the United States, she said, letting out a sigh. Mija, she continued patiently. In Ponce in 1937, some leaders of the Nationalist Party were arrested. They died while they were in prison. Their supporters got permission to protest the arrest by having a parade demonstration. 1 hour before the protest march started, the permission was taken back. Why? Abuela shook her head, but she was smiling too, like something was silly. The mayor of Ponce said it was because he had forgotten that it was Palm Sunday, a religious holiday. I listened carefully. The nationalists marched anyway, and the police opened fire. I wondered how it was not okay to march, but okay to shoot people on a religious holiday. We sat silently for a moment, torn between the old photos and the New York Times I had bought today. What does all of this have to do with garbage set on fire here in our barrio? Don't you see, mija? It's people standing up for themselves. It's Puerto Ricans standing up for what's right. It's little guys standing up to big guys. Abuela, where did you get these pictures? Some were from newspapers, but the one of the Guardia Civil shooting in the crowd of people was a birthday present from a boyfriend I had in a nationalist party. That picture is from a report made by the American Civil Liberties Union. I was almost afraid to ask the question that was in my mind, but I had to know. Were you a nationalist? Not at the time of the massacre. That came later. Abuela rubbed my hands thoughtfully. She let out a heavy breath. There were only a few things a girl like me could be in 1937. A spinster or a wife were two of my choices, so I chose to become a very young wife. Your grandfather Emilio was much older than me. I was 17 when we married. He was 30. Was he a nationalist? Abuela pursed her lips in disgust. No, al contrario, on the contrary. Abuela got very quiet. She wouldn't look at me. Finally, she said, "Come, let's have tea and galletitas." She got up with the album, and I followed her into the kitchen for tea and crackers. Abuela set the album down before me. She boiled water and got an old mayonnaise jar out of the refrigerator with some tea she had mixed up herself. It was a combination of cloves, cinnamon, and ginger. It was so strong, just smelling it made my eyes water. Abuela offered me some. Bebe, mija, drink. No, thanks, I said. She sipped her strong tea. Was Abuelo Emilio a nationalist? I pressed. No, she said bitterly, then abruptly, but in a whisper, said, he was one of the shooters. I reached for the tea Abuela had set in front of me. I took a sip. Your grandfather is that one there. She pointed to one of the policemen in the big picture. He was shooting into the people. Right then, Mommy came home. What's going on? I was quick to answer. Nothing. Eh, ay, mija, we were just talking, Abuela said. She gathered up the album and took it into her room, signaling that I shouldn't say anything. At that moment, I knew I was now keeping a big secret.